from LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible news about your fourth stimulus check update in 2021. In this recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks coming to you into the fourth stimulus recon. This is an enormous amount of money, and it's checks that Bernie Sanders fought a generation to get you, and it's very exciting news. The recon is happening. $3.5 trillion of checks coming to you. It's in the second half of this video. Then we cut to the bills, the vote, and why Saturday we'll have a big bill vote. I'll go over what that big bill vote is, and I'll explain it on air with you. Then we cut to the fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime this fall. SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits. And then we cut to the big money across the board as one viewer got $50,000 because watching the videos of this channel. I'll go over all that deliciousness as well. The toast is toast and the butter is butter, and I'm here, you're here. And this is Mornings LALATE. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? You made it to the weekend. Congratulations. Hope you're doing well. It was beautiful last night. It was in the mid 50s here in Los Angeles. Supposed to be all cool this weekend and cool next weekend. But boy, there's a lot of major developing details this weekend. Congress will be in session. They're voting on bills. So please stay with me Saturday and Sunday, because you do not want to cash out and come back on Monday and say what I missed. There'll be too much for me to explain and you won't be up to date. So stay with me all weekend long. But first, how's the weather? Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather in this monthly, in this big Mornings LA broadcast. We're going to go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks. Oh, it's incredible, great news. It's coming to you in the fourth stimulus recon. Then in the final 15 minutes of this video, stay to the very end, we go over the voting. And did they get the vote done last night, or is it coming this weekend? I'll explain which one's going for a vote and what you need to know across all the board. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up a lifetime, SSI, SSDI, and Social Security as well. That's what's promised for you. And then finally, this. One viewer overnight got $50,000 from this channel. Mark, getting nearly $25,000 for rent, $6,500 for utilities, and $19,000. It's the single biggest payout we've ever seen in the history of this channel. Every day the numbers are getting bigger, and this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning like right now and taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is noontime LALATE live on air, and overnight's crypto as well. Running a little bit late though this morning. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. It helps in the algorithm rankings. And thank you for nearly 200 new Purple Hawks in less than 24 hours 2 days ago. And with that, let's get to the breaking news with that monthly stimulus check starting right now. Senate versus House, Senate versus House. Let's go over all the details. They're both monthly, but they have different number of checks and also different approaches for the payouts. House, pandemic plus 1 year monthly stimulus check. Senate, July to December. Let's go over the payouts. House, $1,000 after the first month of $2,000. The Senate monthly unknown, but word on the street is the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. Everything has changed in all 4 weeks because now we don't just have the pandemic, we have Delta Plus and Delta, and now we also have Lambda. Boy, House bill, pandemic plus 1 year, would likely pay the full extent as represented. So that House bill would be more than 1 year checks, more than 12 checks from that House. And from that House, it would be more than $13,000. Compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. Vote House or Senate. House or Senate. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. And tell me where you're tuning in from And how this is the weather. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? You do. Democrats represent that if you got a third stimulus check, you get a fourth. Single individual, $75,000 less. Democrats represent you're getting a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 less. Democrats represent you're getting a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats represent you're getting a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats represent you get a fourth stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, and VA. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. And the fourth stimulus check would not be a different amount for different people. And finally, the fourth stimulus check is not a waivable check. And I learned my lesson wrongly about a week ago. I was at the beach recording live. Maybe I'll do it again this weekend. And I was on the beach, and a viewer said, "Hey, LALATE, is that the check behind you on the beach?" I said, "I don't want to look." Look. Oh, it is the check. Hi. Hey, check, how you doing? Good to see you. Wave at the check, LALATE. I am. How are you, check? And the check didn't wave back. I said to the viewer, "It's a rude check." The viewer said, "No, LA, it's just not a waivable check. I watch your videos." Oh, there you go. In the second half of this video, we cut to the recon. I'm so excited for you. You should be ecstatic. Viewers are getting $30,000 from third stimulus, which was this big. And now fourth stimulus recon is this big. Imagine how much money you're going to get from a $3.5 trillion stimulus package. You're going to get more than $20,000 like viewers has got. You're going to get 30 and 40 and 50,000 like Mark got. That's coming up in the second half of this video. Then we cut to the voting. They'll be voting this weekend, tomorrow. One of the bills is being voted on tomorrow. What does that mean for our money? I'll go over all the details of what you need to know. It's incredibly elaborate. It's happening in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to the very end. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raise your benefits up a lifetime. But first, let's get some money. Get a pen and paper ready because I'm going to get you some money for rent, utilities, mortgage, and also homeowners utilities, and also SNAP. This is where we were a few weeks ago. I said I can get you $5,000 approximately for rent. 46 months of rent, about $5,000. I was wrong. I can't get you $5,000, but I can get you $27,000. Wow. Elizabeth got $27,000 for rent. The other Mark got $25,000. Nancy got $24,000. Richard got $22,000. Nisi got $20,000. Also not on the graphic. Pamela got $12,000 for rent. Carla got utilities and other items. Tiffany got $13,000 for rent and other items. Randy, $6,000 for rent and other items. Jennifer, $5,000 for rent and other items. And Celia got other items. Wow. Then when we were talking about utilities, I said I'd get you $300 for utilities. I was wrong. I can't get you $300 for utilities, but I can get you $7,000 for utilities. Wow. Nancy got $7,000 for utilities. Mark, $66,000 for utilities. Angela, $5,000 for utilities. I said I can get you $6,000 for SNAP, which is money for food. No, I can get you now $18,000 because look what Louie got from watching these videos. These are all Purple Hawk viewers. These are all subscribers. These are all loving parts of the Purple Power community. They are all succeeding. Louie got $18,000. John got $10,000. Nancy got $5,000. Can we top that? Yes. As you look at the multiple winners, here you go. People who got multiple sums of money. Oh my goodness. Nancy got $32,000. Mark got $32,000. The other Mark. Nisi got $23,000. And if you heard the breaking news you're seeing for the first time on Mornings LA today, here you go. $50,000. Mark understood as a Purple Hawk, as a viewer, that there's a $1,400 third stimulus check, but LALATE is teaching me how to get $50,000 from his videos. He got $25,000 for rent. He got $6,500 for utilities. And he's getting $19,000 for SNAP. And he's telling all his friends, he says, to watch LALATE because this kid is getting people money. And that is what I've been doing since day one. In April of last year, I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans, saving their businesses, their homes, and their employees' homes. It was EIDL grants and loans. I stepped in, I got all their applications approved. But in fall of 2020, second stimulus is not coming. There was no check, Nothing to track. We don't track checks on this channel. We don't say when. When's the vote? When's the this? When's the that? When's the that? We cash checks. If there's checks to cash, we cash them. And that's what they did. They stepped forward and they got $250,000 from my videos. Like Tyrone, his family for out Boston, got $15,000 for rent, paid all their rent to the new year. But now you're doing the same thing. The only difference is you're getting numbers I've never could believe in my wildest imaginations that the viewers of this video can get from understanding what's in these stimulus packages. And as Purple Hawks, hawk, you are winning. So get a pen and paper ready. I'm going to go over all this big sums of money for you to get right now. I want you to learn from these videos. And I want you to get this big sum of money right now. We're going to reach out to different places with different eligibility. One may say no. The next one may say yes. They also have their own pots of money. Are you ready? Listen also to the keywords, because the viewers tell me the keywords really help them get approved. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. Keywords are going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus, or Mitch's fan club. And congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful money for rent. If you got money for rent, post in the live chat. If you got money for Snap, post as well. Let's turn to some Snap now. It's incredible. Also, if you've gotten utilities, post in the live chat right now. Snap is incredible. You just saw that Mark, too, got $19,000 for Snap. Louis got 18. John got $10,000 to $12,000. It's incredible. What is SNAP? It is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. What's the eligibility? Easier than a stimulus check. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom, and Gail got it as well. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of four out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And we're killing it. We are only 11 minutes of the video. We're getting $27,000 for rent, $7,000 for utilities, $19,000 for SNAP, and we're just getting started. The next part of the money is the refund check coming back from your state due to overpayment and a computer error of unemployment benefits. Where's the landing direct deposit? Can you track it? Yeah, contact your state. Say, hi, state. Where's that check due to computer error and unemployment benefits? And can you track it with a computer? This time when you do, can you turn on the computer? Leaving it unplugged just sort of doesn't help. One viewer got $3,000 for this. Another viewer got $5,000 for this as well. The next part of the money is the money coming back from IRS. It's that refund check. It's incredible, great news. Margaret got it, God got it, Michael got it, and it's a waivable check. Don't tell Mitch, he'll be very upset. It's a waivable check. And the latest wave is $1,265. Mark got this check as well. I think his number was about $1,400. I forgot. Direct deposits for this wave start July 14th and paper checks July 16th. There'll be a new wave every week. Now, personal message before I continue with the unemployment. If you're on the live chat and you've not posted your success stories, whether it's $1 or $100, do it right now. The spirit of the Purple Power community is people loving people, people helping people, people inspiring people. When you post your success stories, you inspire people. When people see these results, they realize, wait a second, I should not be tracking checks. I should be cashing checks. I shouldn't be sitting around wondering dates and when people are legislating. I should be cashing checks rather than looking at a calendar. And inspires them to go get these big sums of money. They see all these people getting these big sums of money. They realize I should get it as well. Second, they see viewers like Art Sullivan who got 3 items, and they get inspired, like Nisi as well, who got 3 items, 23,000. And then they realize I should go get 3 items, and they do. And then they see the magnitude of getting 3 items, $50,000 like Mark. And then finally, it updates us about the numbers. We see the numbers are going bigger. Rent is not $400 anymore. It's $25,000. And SNAP is not a few $100s. It's now $19,000 national over a year. Let's cut back to that unemployment benefits. How much? Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You pay $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, go to irs.gov, do a transcript search, and reveal the taxes you paid, the tax, the refund, the tax return you filed, and then reveal stuff you never wanted to know. It'll reveal when Leader Schumer was on Laverne and Shirley. Did he put an S on everything? I don't know where that came from. And can we top that? We can. It'll also reveal the refund check you can back from IRS. We can as we go into the second part of your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. It's starting right now. Deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you under fourth stimulus recon. This is a historic day because the recon is essentially near the finish line. The Democratic caucus has met and agreed to pass the recon on the $3.5 trillion price tag. And this is just checks for you. Checks for all walks of life. Imagine all the fortunes, $25, $32, $50,000 the viewers got from third stimulus, which was like this. And now we're talking about fourth stimulus, this is like this. $3.5 trillion of checks. I'm going to be getting all of you all those checks that you qualify for as soon as it becomes law. How do they do this? Originally, the recon had roads and bridges in there before July 4th. Leader Schumer said to us, I'm going to get this to law by July 4th. He couldn't because it had roads and bridges in there. So they had to take the roads and bridges out, shrunk the recon, and those roads and bridges went into something called the bipartisan, making both the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, and your money, the recon, passable. Confirmation comes from a conservative publication. The report's the same as me just days ago. The higher the price tag was on the recon originally, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. By allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon, roads and bridges, and putting it into the bipartisan, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller. There you go. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. But the recon also made the bipartisan passable, and they're both getting passed by the August recess. Yes. Now, once the Democrats had shrunk the recon by taking the roads and bridges out, they were able to blow it up a little bit more to a big number, and that number is $3.5 trillion. And this is exactly where they wanted it. It's great news for you. First, Representative Ilhan Omar says the recon will go as far as we want it. You got it, $3.5 trillion. And then Representative Richie Torres said we have to have a recon that goes larger. And you got it. Congratulations, Richie, $3.5 trillion. And the Progressive Caucus was meeting with the White House daily to ensure the recon went big and bold enough. They got it, $3.5 trillion. How did they do this? By the president telling the progressives to protect the recon, because everything in that recon is checks for you. These are checks these people have fought a generation to get you. You should be ecstatic and grateful they're doing this for you. Brian Schatz, Democrat of Hawaii, and Jalapal both confirmed that the White House considers, quote, the White House considers the progressive priorities in the recon their priorities. Incredible, great news. What the Purple Hawks and the viewers of this channel have learned is that if you got bills around the house, I got bills to pay for the car, or bills to pay for the rent, or bills to pay for the gas, and the federal government wants to come in and pay for some of those bills, it's not your time or place to say pay for only this bill when they want to pay for the other bill, and it's an enormous sum of money. If they want to pay $50,000 of your bills, let them pay $50,000 of your bills, because then you'll have $50,000 of financial freedom to pay for other things. The federal government may not be paying your car note on your car, but they'll pay your rent or utilities or food or your internet, and that'll alleviate $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 of other bills so that you can pay money on the car. That's how financial freedom works under all these stimulus packages. The incredible great news is that this recon, $3.5 trillion, is a fortune of checks for you. So what is a recon? How does it get written? And what is it called? And what are all the details of it? On this channel, I only use two terms, the word recon, which refers to your money, and the bipartisan. The bipartisan refers to the roads and bridges. And yesterday, one of my favorite anchors, Andrew Ross Sorkin, was on air, and he said, so about that $3.5 trillion infrastructure. Andrew, that's the recon. It's not the infrastructure. And it's not his fault because broadcast media is just butchering the subject. And so what I want you to do is learn with me the terminology, because they're reporting the story wrong day in, day out. I want you to understand the terminology, and it starts right now. Recon is your money. It also stands for reconciliation. Other term for recon is the budget bill. The way you recognize it, price tag $3.5 trillion. The way you recognize people talking about it, advocates are Bernie, Nancy, AOC. Bipartisan, not your money. This is roads and bridges, also called infrastructure. Price tag $1.5 trillion. This is the thing that's currently undergoing amendments in the Senate. A price, people quoting in something like this, like a Kristen Sinema, Ron Portman, or Mitt Romney. Okay, that's all easy. Let's now cut back to who writes it. The recon is written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. I know that's sort of obvious, but I need to say it as we get closer to the finish line. You will get 0 members of the Republican Party to vote in favor of the recon. They're not going to vote in favor. No worry, because guess what? You don't need a single vote of them. All the Democratic senators have vowed to pass the recon. So who actually writes it? It's written by subcommittees of the House. And those subcommittees are delegated different subject matters in the Constitution. House Ways and Means, for example, are responsible for stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. When each of the subcommittees are done, they send their pages up to Chuck. Let's say it's 10 committees with 10 pages. That's 100 pages. He puts a big S on it for salty, sugary, so what? Schumerish, Laverne and Shirley. No, Senate. But until he does, we don't have a bill yet. There's no constitutional requirement for them to show you what they're writing or not writing, what taking in or taking out. We have an emoji for that. Not bill yet. And that is what the broadcast media and I agree. So if you hear someone say, I haven't heard, the reason why I haven't heard is because we don't have a bill yet. When the bill is debuted, however, the bill will get modified. The bill will get modified. And later in this video, in the final 15 minutes of this video, I'm going to show you how the Democrats especially are ready to modify the recon. It's not law yet. We have an emoji for that one. And that's important to remember because the recon may not be right. They may need to modify things. And guess what? This has been a week of Democrats modifying things. You could have started the week by looking at the eviction moratorium and being very negative, pessimistic, and very cataclysmic, saying it's over. The eviction moratorium is ended. No one's going to care for me. No one's going to take care for me. No, people did. In fact, Representative Bush, 1st District of Missouri, progressive, Democrat, St. Louis, sat on Capitol Hill for 3 nights and said, no, I'm not going to sit back and let this pass. This is not right. She sat there and said, Mr. President, you're wrong. He had said on Monday, I'm not going to extend the eviction moratorium. The courts won't allow me to. She sat there, and by the end of the week, he said, no, I'm going to extend the eviction moratorium. I don't care what the courts say. That's how you push purple power. She's the full embodiment of the purple power. No time to sit back and think that's law yet, because it wasn't. She pushed, and she changed the law. So, now, with that, can we top that? We can. As Jalapal recently wrote Schumer a letter saying, Chuck called the vote on the recon. Well, guess what? He is calling the vote on the recon. It's coming in just hours, if not days. That letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who are part of the 100 plus, yes, 100, who recently wrote the president a letter saying, we're putting monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package. Whoa, can we top that? We can. As 7 members of that House Ways and Means subcommittee, that one we just went over, yep, that House subcommittee, House Ways and Means, recently wrote the president a letter saying they're putting monthly fourth stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Whoa, purple power, you got to push. You got to keep these people their promise. They're promising you monthly stimulus checks. Can we top that? We can. As the president did it, he got a massive treaty signed into law just a few days ago. Look, President went overseas about 6 weeks ago for a ceremonial signature, but the real signature was just a few days ago. It's for something very complicated and very exhausting. And it's great news it's not in the recon because it's too exhausting. It's called the Global Minimum Corporate Tax Rate Minimum. Oh, I'm exhausted just saying that. It's great news because it's confusing. Number one, it's easier to write the recon because this confusing thing is not in there. Easier to call the vote on the recon because it ain't in there. Easier to vote on the recon because it ain't in there. And easier to pass the recon because this confusing thing ain't in there. And can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, I'll go over why they did not get a vote done yesterday, why they're not doing it today, but why they're doing a certain vote tomorrow. I'll be going over the amendments and why those amendments are not much of a concern for me. I'll also explain the distinction of something being voted on in the Senate versus voted on the House. It's a very interesting distinction I've not made before. I'm going to make it in this video. I'll go over the breaking news about what's happening this weekend because it's going to be a big weekend. You don't want to cash out and turn away because, boy, by Monday, everything will have changed. And with that, something more deliciousness, the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, food, and internet, and you've had problems finding it, don't worry. First, always try to find it yourself, but if you can't, don't worry. The volunteers will help you. How do you find them? Open the description of this video. Go down the description and find the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They'll help you find that money for rent, utilities, and more. And here's a little bit about them. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds after this commercial break on a big Mornings LA broadcast. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Mornings LALATE as the toast is toast and the butter is butter, and I'm here, you're here, and the excitement continues. Boy, it's going to be a big weekend. And there's a lot happening, not so much today, but Saturday and Sunday. You don't want to miss a single minute across the board, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Thank you for over 200 new Purple Hawks 2 days ago in 24 hours. Just incredible. Coming up next is Noontime LALATE. If I have time, there'll be a Mornings Crypto as well. And then there's a brand new Afternoons LALATE at 3 and Evenings LALATE at 5. Meantime, the president, when running for president for the highest office in the land, promised you raising your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI. He did not deliver that after elected. So then during the transition papers, he said he was going to do it again. He didn't do it then either. No worries, because the Democratic members are taking care of it for you. This is fifth stimulus, and this is September. In just about 30 days from now, they're going to start working on drafting the SSI reform. The final voting on it would be about in November, and the benefits would hit your account by about in November, they represent. And then the lift up with the benchmark would be for December applied for next year. How does this work? Step one, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime, then remove the asset caps, then apply an inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. All right, let's go over the analysis starting right now. Who gets this? You do. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. Step one, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Step two, they'll apply the new benchmark. That benchmark will be applied in December. What will be? It'll be inflation. Where is inflation going? It's transitory. Transitory, what does that mean? It's a fancy word, Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, says, which is a temporary spike in December. Yes, right when they apply our benefits. How high is inflation going? I've been saying 5%. Wall Street's been saying 5%. But there was a lot of economic data today, yesterday, the day before. The non-payroll payrolls, non-farm payroll numbers increased 1 million last month, while the labor number dropped to unemployment under 5.4%. This is the best number we've seen since August 2020. On Thursday, we saw the new jobless claims number, the lowest since the pandemic started, and the continuing jobless claims under 2 million, which is absolutely almost no one. Then we saw the trade imbalance number bad also yesterday, and the day before we saw a bad number for job creation. The unemployment number rate has fallen from 15% during the pandemic to now 3.5% before the crisis. Really fascinating. So I'm going to stay with 5%. First, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Then they'll apply the benchmark. Let's say it's 5%. That will raise your benefits up an additional 5%. And if next year the benefits are 2%, it'll be plus 5 to plus 2%, because once your benefits raise up, they never step down. Then they'll remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you have the ability to have some stimulus checks in your hand and also stay on benefits. They're going to remove the income cap, dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. You'll no longer lose or worry about benefits across the board. And viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to do the pair dance. And there you go. Meantime, there will be a fifth stimulus check. That'll be next year, those Democratic House Ways and Means members mentioned. And then finally, if you're in the live chat and you've not become a Purple Hawk, what are you doing? The viewers who are Purple Hawks of this channel understand the very simple premise of the following. You got bills in the house. The federal government is not going to pay the loan on your car. They just don't. The federal government doesn't fix your roof and they don't do your car. But the federal government will help pay your rent or your utilities or food or your internet or other bills across the board. And if the federal government will pay those bills, then you will have less, you'll have extra money to pay for those other items you have to pay for, like the car or the roof. And so Purple Power members who join under the video where it says join here, understand what's going on. In fall of 2020, there was a $600 stimulus check. I said, yeah, okay, $600. I'm going to get you $6,000. I didn't. I got viewers $15,000. And then when third stimulus was passed early this year, some people were only focused on $1,400 elsewhere. Not here. I told viewers, do not be focused on just the $1,400 stimulus check. I be focused on the $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 was the expression I used at the time that I can get you under third stimulus. And guess what? Viewers are getting $30,000. Viewers are getting $50,000. And this was with a smaller stimulus package than the one that's coming up next, $3.5 trillion under the fourth stimulus. So consider becoming a member so you get access delivered daily to you from the YouTube community page written to you by me about the big money that's available under third stimulus. It's fortunes, and you're entitled to this money. Please get it, and please consider becoming a member. And when fourth stimulus is passed, get ready, because it's $3.5 trillion, which brings us to the final 15 minutes of this video, starting right now. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you and the American people under the fourth stimulus recon. The Democratic senators have met twice in the last week and agreed they're passing the recon. They just have to call the vote. This is incredible, great news. It's the single biggest payout that you've seen for nearly a generation of checks for so many parts of the country. This is what Bernie Sanders fought for a generation to get you, and you should be ecstatic. It's checks for all of you, of all walks of life. Here are some of the checks. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, farming checks, election checks, closing the digital divide checks. These are checks for free internet. Then clean energy. Here come checks for my seniors and checks for workers. Checks for workers. Checks for independent contractors, checks for unions, and then checks for my seniors, checks for lowering the eligibility age, checks for Medicare expansion, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. Wow, incredible, great news. An enormous sum of checks coming to you on the fourth stimulus recon. Let's cut over to the bipartisan roads and bridges. So the bill was introduced on Monday. They've been doing amendments day in, day out. Those amendments have been failing, which is good because remember they have to pass the bipartisan as well to get us our recon. And there is one amendment that may survive that has to do with the Veterans Administration and also the military. But they had said they were going to get the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, to a final bill vote last night, which would be Thursday night. They were unable to. So when are they doing it? Saturday. Because of a senator's funeral, they have to all attend either at the funerals today or tomorrow. So there will be not much activity on voting today. The actual final vote on the bipartisan bill will be in the Senate on Saturday. To which I ask, and certainly you may ask, wait a second, I thought the recon has to go for a vote first. Let's dissect this and back it down a little bit. There's differences between where a thing goes for a vote first and where things land first. The most important thing of this equation is one item, that Nancy Pelosi does not call the roads for bridges vote in the House if the recon never had passed. And her promise is she's not doing it. She's never going to call the roads and bridges for a vote in the House if she does not also have the recon first. What does this resemble? It resembles last year when Nancy Pelosi passed the HEROES Act for us, sent it to the Senate for Mitch, and Mitch said, I'm not calling for a vote. And we sat back and said, call for a vote, Mitch. Oh, I'm never calling for a vote. You're never going to see high light of day. So that's what Nancy's saying right now. You send me only roads and bridges in the House, it's never going to see a light of day. It's going to see the garbage can. I'm not calling for a vote. So that's the most important thing in the equation. More about her in a second. That is still there. Let's go then one step earlier. Things being sent to the House in order is also slightly important, not as important. Is the recon sent to the House before the bipartisan or sent together? Or is the bipartisan sent 1 week and the recon sent another week? That's slightly important, not as important as the previous thing. Then let's go one step before that, which is when are things voted on in the Senate? It's not it is not a dispositive, it is not a conclusive event if Schumer calls the recon for a vote second after the bipartisan. It does nothing about killing the recon. It doesn't kill the recon. It's the House side of the equation that would kill the recon if Nancy didn't hold her ground. That's the part that would kill it. So is the recon going for a vote second in the Senate? It looks like it is. At the moment, it looks like they're finishing the amendments on the bipartisan, and the bipartisan bill will be Saturday morning, and the bipartisan will be passed by the Senate on Saturday morning. Immediately thereafter, the Republicans actually agree, even Ted Cruz agrees, that they're starting the recon right after that. So we could see the recon efforts starting as early as Saturday. So that brings us now to before we go to that Saturday, let me go over the comments from Nancy, Chuck, Jalapal, and the president. It's all great news. The president says that I'm not signing roads and bridges by itself, so don't try that with me. You have to send me roads and bridges and recon. He says, as the roads and bridges, if only that comes to me, and that's the only thing that comes to me, I'm not signing it. It has to come in tandem, recon and bipartisan. Great news. That's the president. He also says, as to the bipartisan, I'm not just signing the bipartisan and forgetting about the rest of the stuff I proposed, the recon. I proposed another piece of legislation, recon, and they both are equally important. That's great news. Schumer also confirms that both pieces of legislation are being passed. He confirms both of them, and he confirmed that yesterday in a quote as well. And Bernie met with Nancy a week ago yesterday and said, you need to hold your ground. She said, I am. And her position is unchanged. Her position is, you send me only one thing to the House, then I am throwing it away. And this is what she said. There won't be a bipartisan if you don't send me also the recon. Plain and simple. In fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be bipartisan unless you have a recon sent to me as well from the House, from the U.S. Senate. And then Jalapal confirms as well that the House members are not passing the bipartisan by itself. Do not, we did a poll of our members, and the overwhelming majority said they're not going to vote on the bipartisan without the recon together. So that's all great news. All right, now let's cut to the recon bill itself. This is what's so important. This is what's so important. If you've been with me for a while, you see where legislation starts and then it gets changed. In the case of the recon, written by those House subcommittee Democrats, it's not a lot of people. It's just a few people that have been working on it. Guess what? Other Democrats have said, I'm modifying. Thank goodness. So Senate Democrats and House Democrats saying they're modifying the recon. This is great news for you because the recon may leave things out, may not be correct, may be needing modification. And they all say they're modifying it. Democrats modifying Democrat language. Great news across the board. I use Representative Bush as an example. You could have started the week saying, eviction moratorium, no one cares about us. No one cares about us. We're not getting it. We're not getting it. I'm depressed. I'm not getting it. I'll see you in a month from now. Well, no. You push. You push. That's what Representative Cori Bush did. She pushed, and she pushed with the progressives in the House. AOC and Jalapal and Nancy kept on pushing the president, saying, no, you can't do this. And within 48 hours, 72 hours, he reverted. It changed, and the law changed, and the eviction moratorium was changed. That's what's happened in every stimulus package that I've ever tried to cover this channel. Things are in there, not in there, added in, taken out, grown, shrunken. So what you need to know is when you see that recon bill, remember we have an emoji, not law yet. Not law yet, because that's the way Congress works. It may have something in there, and it may not be right, or it may not have the thing in there, and that's not right. And it's not law yet, and they have the opportunity to modify. Lastly, the Republicans will be throwing daggers at it as well. The Republicans will start, and the Democrats will start with the vote-a-rama in the Senate. We have confirmation the vote-a-rama starting on the Senate side first, so that's about 2 days of nonstop efforts. The great news about this is that the Senate members have indicated they're done. They're almost out of steam. They have no more energy left. The Senate has been in session, the longest Senate session we've seen in nearly a generation. And they've been working 16-hour days. They're elder statesmen, and they say, I have no more energy, which is great for us. So we are not starting the vote-a-rum on the recon with a bunch of young 20-year-olds that have had, that have been sleeping 12-hour days for the last week. No, these are older people who are exhausted, who have not been sleeping, and have been working 7-day weeks for several weeks, and they're saying, I have no more energy. So they will have less energy to battle against your recon when it starts. That's great news as well. Finally, the recess. I covered that a lot yesterday. I don't think I need to cover it every day, but the in-session and recess issues are not at issue. Nancy and Kevin McCarthy will call the House back into session as quickly as it needs to within 24 hours. The people are still in the building. They haven't left town, the House members, and they will get things done as well. And with that, that's a lot to cover in a given morning's broadcast. But boy, there you go. Remember that this recon is $3.5 trillion of checks coming to you. Viewers are getting $20, $30, $40, $50,000 under third stimulus. You should be as well. But when recon gets passed for stimulus, I'll be focusing on getting you every single penny I can. Because as we've seen with second stimulus, where viewers got $15,000, third stimulus, where viewers are getting $30,000, now we're getting to our biggest stimulus package of the bunch, $3.5 trillion. Imagine how many checks you're getting in this incredible recon. I'm very excited for you. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Thank you for the 200 new Purple Hawks just one day earlier this week. Coming up next is Noontime LA, and if there's time, I will go on air with Morning's Crypto, but I may not have time. We'll see what happens. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful morning. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and thank you for joining me on Mornings LA.